Hey everybody, welcome to the Turret of Pleasure with myself, Zip Gun, your host, here in the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione, at the highest point of the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. You're on a beautiful early summer day, and rocking my Olympia Ljubljana jersey that Tom Holliston gave me. Apparently this was a goaltender's jersey. You could get two of us in it. What are we rocking here? Oh, the Atlanta Flames. Yes. Good old Atlanta Flames. Today I want to, this is a sort of a thrift store story. Sort of a reminiscence of misspent youth. The Empress Hermione and I went to Britain and Malta on our recent vacation, just barely pre-COVID. And of course, one of the things I love to do when I go into strange countries is to go looking for CDs. Oh, sounds like the first Air Force is back. Oh yeah, there you go. We visited some friends in Wrexham in Wales, which looks to me on a map like it's just inside of Wales, but if you call anybody there English, they get very mad at you. And there was a little CD store there I had been to 5 years ago, and it was a good little CD store. I found some neat, weird stuff, Van der Graaf Generator, Peel sessions, and all kinds of weird prog rock, and he was a nice guy. And he remembered me, so we were chatting, having a bit of a reminiscence. And I went looking through his thing. I usually go through his whole store, because the stuff there is pretty cheap. And I found, to my delight, this CD, Santana Lotus. Now, Santana Lotus is from 1974. And there's a couple of reasons why this CD is noteworthy for me. First of all, I went to see Santana on tour in 1974. But I wasn't there to see Santana. In fact, my old dear friend Simon Hopper and I, we were there to see the opening band, which was the Italian prog rock group Premiata Fornieri Marconi, also known as PFM. They were signed to Emerson, Lake and Palmer's label, and they were a solid and great prog rock band. Violinist who doubled on flute, a terrific mini Moog player, classically trained guitarist who just played like the wind, and they wrote some great songs, and they were very noticeably Italian in their sound. And we were psyched to go see them. We were prog nuts, and they were on, opening a bill of Chilliwack followed by Santana. Well, we left after PFM. We were going to sit through Chilliwack, and we were like 15 at the time. So as it turned out, years passed, and I started to discover this era of Santana. And I realized that it's probably my favorite era of Santana. And I'm not a big Santana fan, but I do like them a lot when they're good. And this particular era, I think this was sort of the Caravanserai era. And this is their live show from Japan. And this was Columbia, Sony, whatever they were, Sony Columbia. Oh, it's not looking good for the Titanic. They had a thing with their major artists who were big in Japan, and a lot of them were. They would record them in Japan live at places like the Budokan and whatnot. Where was this recorded? At Osaka. So this, I don't know if this is at the same place that Miles did Pangea. And of course the Japanese had terrific recording technicians, terrific equipment. And this record was recorded and mixed in SQ Quadraphonic, which excites me greatly. Now this is not, sadly, an SQ Quadraphonic, but the LPs came out in 1974 in SQ Quadraphonic. However, the record only came out in Japan, just like Dark Magus by Miles Davis, just like Pangea by Miles Davis, and like a bunch of other great jazz records. I never figured this out. So it was kind of this record that nobody in North America, it was a 3-record set, LPs. So it was a big deal. And this was the first Santana live record. And they were a very good band live in these days. Now, I was going to show you, in addition to this, the album Moonflower. Now, Moonflower was the next live album, which came out in, I'm trying to remember now, 76 maybe? I'm thinking must have been 76 or so. Because it was a hybrid live record. It had some really good, I'm going to just look for this because it's going to bug me unless I figure it out. Santana went through this period, Barboletta Amigos Festival, Welcome, Moonflower, 77, okay. Now, Moonflower was sort of a consolidation record. December 76 live tracks, 1977 studio tracks. They do a really good version of She's Not There by the Zombies, which became a big hit for them. And they also do quite a bit of older stuff live. This is the sort of the refined Lotus band. There's some elements of the Lotus band in this, and then there's other guys that are different. Yeah, last record of his to go platinum until Supernatural in 1999. So that's, by my math, that's 22 years. Now, Moonflower is a pretty good record, and I bought it when it came out as a kid, and I thought it was very solid. The live stuff was good, and a great story I have from this era was one fine day, and I'm assuming it was in 1977, maybe 78. I had skipped off school and had gone back to my home where I lived with my parents, which was a lovely home up on the top of the hill up the countryside. And Mom and Dad were at work at the real estate office, and my brother was at school. I had the whole house to myself. And kind of a brisk day. And my father was a big fan of Presto logs. And this big house we lived in had an upstairs fireplace and a downstairs fireplace. I lived in the downstairs. I had the sort of bedroom in the bowels of the house where I could hide away and play my records. So I decided on a fine day to crank Moonflower up really loud and do a few hits of acid. And light a fire with the Presto logs. Now, this sounds like a reasonable thing to do until you realize there's fire involved. And it's tough to gauge fire when you're peaking on acid listening to Moonflower by Santana. So my guess is that I perhaps added one too many Presto logs to the flaming conflagration in my fireplace. And while the music was screaming out and Carlos was giving it his best, I could hear kind of a funny popping noise. Pop, 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 pop. Wonder what that is, I wonder. Where is it coming from? So I turned the record off, and it was still happening. And I followed it, and I realized it was coming from up the chimney. So I go out the front door of the basement area and look up to my chimney, and there is what is essentially a active volcano. And there aren't flames. I don't think, maybe I saw flames, maybe they were even there. But what there was big black things pooping out the top of the chimney and floating in suspended animation. And of course my first thought, as you might guess, was, man, this is good acid, boy. And then I went, no acid's that good. Those look real. Those are really real looking. And then all the things spitting them out pretty good. And I realize, it sort of dawns on me, it takes a second, that maybe the chimney's on fire. So I decide it's time to put out 4 or 5 fully engaged flaming Presto logs, which, as you might guess, made a little bit of a mess. However, I successfully put the fire out. It's still popping away like crazy. I go outside, and the air is full of these black lens-shaped things that look like planets in the universe. And they're floating around, and I'm just like, wow. And I realize that I don't know if they're real or not, but I'm thinking, it is. And finally one comes close. And it's about this big. And it was lens-shaped, and it was gray. And there's a bunch of them came towards me. And I went to grab one and just disappeared into dust. And this was like, okay. So then the next one I caught it, okay. And I caught it, and I barely touched it. And I took it into my room, and I put it in the closet, and we'll just leave that there till tomorrow. And, of course, Botanic just hit a mine. Yeah, so, I would recommend not starting a fire while listening to Santana high on acid, from my personal perspective. But this apparently has been re-released, Lotus, as some sort of hybrid thing where you can play it in your PS3 and the 5.1 will automatically come out of my Magic 5.1 receiver. So I might even buy it if it isn't ridiculously expensive, and I'll give this to somebody else. But, yeah, Santana. When was the last time you talked about Santana? In my case, it's been a while. Anyway, thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe. Give us money somehow. We're not sure. You can come over and give me money. But we'll keep making these as long as they're fun to make and as long as I got something to say about something. So, thanks for coming. See you later.